I was thinking this time last year was when we were giving out about all the games that were on, and like we couldn't keep track, we couldn't watch them, some weren't televised.
Yeah.
They just seemed so lethargic, and I was like, "What are these games for?" And now this year we're like, "Fuck Pete Davidson, man!"
Yeah.
Like, we might watch 3 games between us and not talk about any of them, and then just like guess at the rest.
Look, we know the scores. What else do you need? You watch the
We can
games.
guess how that game went. We can have a fair idea that somebody scored, somebody had a mistake. I mean,
Well, that's why
whatever.
there was too many games last year. Was because we tried to watch all the games. That was never going to work.
Yeah, that was our first mistake.
Yeah, you pick one.
Yeah. If one's on, watch it. If not, watch the highlights on
Don't
YouTube.
worry
of the
about
other
it.
ones. Make your own takes from that.
That's what people
Um,
want.
Yes, they want to hear us talk about Pete Davidson. Really, let's be honest.
Yeah. What's your take on?
Uh,
What about that message from him?
Fuck Pete Davidson. I tell you what, and look, we are obviously a Pete Davidson, anti-Pete Davidson podcast.
Yeah.
We're not too far to Kanye either. This isn't like a Kanye.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before.
Why would he get with a 4-year-old woman? You know what I mean? Only for the fucking clout. Like, he is the epitome of a clout chaser. That's all he did. Like, just straight in there. I've always loved Kim Kardashian. Have you? Have you, Pete?
They're imposters.
Nothing to ask me, for my opinion, a little bit unfair. But in between that, there was drinks.
Why are you talking rubbish?
Are you on creatine yet, man?
No, not yet, bro. Still on the protein.
If you're not using pre-workout, protein, and creatine, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
And what's worse, you're making me mad.
And when I'm on all this creatine, you don't want to make me mad.
You are lucky I'm nowhere near you right now because I'm getting annoyed at your dietary choices. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast with Cahill and Will. It is Sanction City up in here, Will. I mean, they gave him a while. They gave him 1 or 2 chances. Was it 3 weeks he had to sell it? No
Something-
takers?
Yeah, something like that. Enough that we covered it and did an audio bed about him before.
Yeah, and
So
not
that-
even that late about it.
Yeah,
know.
it takes us ages to do those, so he had time.
Yeah. I mean, what was the last iBud we did? The in the previous episode. It wasn't the Ramage one. It was the last one.
Last one had a Roy Keane one, I think.
The Roy Keane one. Or sorry, no. What I'm thinking about is obviously we do this totally live. And nothing is edited afterwards. The theme music you just heard.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, brand new.
That's what I was thinking of. Give it up to Will Byrne, everybody.
thank you.
The maker of all the good audio beds on the show. New theme music. Like our Legacy fans will remember there's some of those classic clips.
Yeah. New fans won't have an ocean.
No, but I mean, it'll entice them to go back and listen, perhaps.
Yes.
One of my favorites is the Jermaine Genius clip. Don't ask me because I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Hey, that could apply this week. Could it, Jermaine?
I mean, we haven't seen him in a while, I'm sure, and he's hit a few. I actually don't know in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I bet he has, but he's glad he's not being put on anymore because, I mean, honestly, this is some tough stuff, this sanctioning stuff, and we're getting into this kind of, I don't know, whataboutery. Of kind of like, well, what about this? What about that? And then it's like, oh, maybe football is rife with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe we've known that for years, and now it's kind of coming back to, oh, now it's got too far. It's like, well, when was this not too far? When was that not too far? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, well,
Now
so
the
I don't
people
know.
did something. We didn't
Yeah,
think they were ever
yeah.
going to do anything.
Yeah, I suppose today we have the news, or not today, but today we're going to talk about the news that Abramovich has been sanctioned.
Hard.
Sanctioned out of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what the sanctions are, Will? I mean, just a brief kind of overview of what they are for the folks at home.
So we've got the main one. It's basically the gist of it is you're not allowed to make money anymore until the club is sold. And when the club is sold, you won't get a penny of it, Mr. Abramovich. So That means no merchandise. You can't sell jerseys. You can't buy a keyring from the club shop. Nothing. You can't sell food in the stadium, I think. You can't sell tickets to games. So over the next while, we're going to see lots of away games for Chelsea where they have no fans in the stadium. And I don't know how it knows for later in the season. Like, I think season ticket holders can still go to games, but I don't know if they can sell tickets for away fans in the stadium. So it could be good news for Chelsea in home games. It could just be full of Chelsea fans every week. So I'm not too sure how it works. Then as well, we've got no contract negotiations in or out. So if, say, Rudiger's contract is up and the club's still not sold, he's out of here. You can't even talk to him. You're not allowed to buy a replacement. If Tuchel wants to go all of a sudden,
they can't say goodbye to Antonio. They can't say they're going to be the FA security. Don't look at him. Don't look at him.
Don't you dare. Don't you even think about it. Well,
Mason Mount, look away. Pipe down, Mason Mount. Don't even look at Antonio Rudiger. Stop crying.
I did see today they're in a bit of bother because over the last few days, I think people have been like, not like poor Chelsea, but it's like that sucks for them. It's going to be tough.
Literally poor Chelsea.
Literally poor
financially
Chelsea.
poor Chelsea.
But then today, Chelsea tried to get the FA to let them play Middlesbrough behind closed doors in Middlesbrough Stadium to uphold sporting integrity because they can't sell away tickets. And people were like, hang on now, sporting integrity. Chelsea.
That was lost probably at the inception of the professional game, if we're honest.
Yeah.
You know, when they were bringing in ringers to work in the factories. Again, anyone saw the English game on Netflix, give it a go. That's all my knowledge on how English football started. But I mean, I don't know. It's like, say, we're at the point now where it's like Abramovich bad, Saudi Arabian's good now.
Yeah.
But if I was Newcastle or City fans, I would be I'd be worried. I'd be saying, oh fuck, the walls are closing in on the bad guys a little bit.
Yeah, that's not good.
If I was a Newcastle fan, I would. But did you see what Newcastle fans were chanting at Chelsea this weekend?
No, what was that?
I'll just play the clip. I mean, you have to respect the ingenuity of that chat. I mean, it's a real irony. It's self-deprecating. It's like, it's like if we were chanting to, I don't know, Scotland, who were like, say we got rid of England and then Scotland would get invaded and then we started chanting England to cover you. It's like such a horrible, mean-spirited thing. Like, we suffered for so long, now you're going to suffer. Ha ha ha. You know, it's that's what football is. That's sporting integrity right there.
Well, speaking of sport and integrity, do you want to see a senior government source's quote about Chelsea trying to get that game in behind closed doors? It's a doozy of a statement for someone to say about a football club. So it's a bit of a long statement, like goes in and out. Like, this statement threatening Middlesbrough and the rest of the Football League shows they do not understand the seriousness of the situation they are in, being owned by an entity that has been sanctioned because of links to a person responsible for appalling acts. Then it goes on a bit. Then it says, Chelsea should spend less time worrying about having a few thousand fans at one game and focus on moving their clubs into the hands of someone who isn't a warmonger.
Boom. Roasted.
See, this is the thing. Once you start throwing these accusations around, you know, like, listen, he had what his allegate the accusations leveled against him is that he, you know, built tanks for Putin, and you know he was very close to him and well aware of all the stuff that's going on. So I mean, that's not good, right? Again, it's not good. But I mean, the Saudi Arabian public fund is literally Saudi Arabia. So like,
it's the country. It's worse than just like a Russian man who is friends with the president
and who doesn't mind people dying for his own financial gain. If he's a warmonger, what are they? You know,
exactly.
You start to get in this, we said before, Will, dicey territory. You know,
Dicey. Whoa.
You can't just start to. I mean, this is the thing. I don't like sound like something like we would say. Listen, pal, you should be more worried about this than that, right? Because like, you gotta watch your P's and Q's and throwing accusations like that around, you know?
It's funny though, because it's at a point now where it's like, I think United and Arsenal fans are kind of like, phew, thank God we just have the horrible Americans. It's a pretty sweet deal. They just milk us dry and make us worse.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is the real thing for Chelsea. It's like they will get sold. They will be bought by somebody, you'd imagine.
They have, I think they said on Monday Night Football, they had 200 bids in from various billionaires apparently, and there's a 2-week deadline on the government choosing who picks.
Oh, the government gets to choose now?
Which is bad, I think. Yeah. So that probably rules out. I think there's a Saudi Arabian fund. We're trying to buy them, which definitely can't be allowed.
One.
Yeah.
What?
So this one's not a state-owned one. It's just a very, very, very rich man. No links at all.
Yeah, I wonder how he made his money.
Yeah.
Was it in?
That might get cut.
Well, actually, that's the issue. If they get sold, or they get sold to somebody, another billionaire, you know, would it be an American owner? Would it be a local Chelsea fan, perhaps? You know, who knows? Like, but I mean, the odds are it won't be someone like Roman Abramovich who put $1.5 billion into it over the course of the.
And was like, keep it.
I remember when they won the Champions League in 2012. That was the first year. I think I've said that multiple times on the podcast, but that was the first year they made a profit because they won the Champions League and the prize money for that. Most years they operate at a loss.
Yeah.
Which is just like, you know, it's not how anything else works. Like, no one else is gonna. Why would you buy it for whatever, how many billion, and then pump more money into it, unless you're sports washing or whatever Abramovich was doing that we still don't really understand why he did any of this.
Yeah,
it's just such a weird thing.
Really liked watching football, I guess. It's so bizarre.
You know, I don't know. I don't know why he did it, but I mean, you're not going to find someone like him again.
No.
So, and look, we saw when, you know, Alex Ferguson left, everyone's like, no, it's fine. There's a winning mentality. There's structure in place. They're not going to fall away. And they didn't lose any money. Yeah. In fact, they got more money thanks to the great Ed Woodward. He just continually made blockbuster sponsorship deals year on year, and they got worse and worse. Tractor
deals, noodle deals, everything.
So, like, if you buy Chelsea, I mean, not that there isn't good structures in place, and they do have the Loney system seems to work in some kind of convoluted way, more convoluted than the Frank system, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Chelsea obviously, you know, have a system in place and they have a winning mentality and all that stuff. But I mean, make no mistake, like buying someone like Kai Havertz, who scored again at the weekend for 80 million at 21 years of age, that's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing else really bar the money that's made them competitive.
That was the big thing of Roman Abramovich coming. We can throw our money about and we can get who we want. We're going to go to Manchester United. The first thing we do, they're a money-making machine, United. We want to become that. We'll go and get Peter Kenyon, their CEO. We'll go to Liverpool and take the best midfield player in Europe and destabilise that club for two summers. Didn't get him. We'll get Ashley Cole, invincible, won everything at Arsenal. Yeah, we'll go and get him. We'll get caught tapping up, doesn't matter, we'll pay the fine. England flying at the time with Sven-Goran Eriksson. England manager, no, we want him as Chelsea man. Don't worry what he's doing with the FA or England. We'll have him, and we'll pay the fine, don't worry. We'll get caught with that. So Chelsea Football Club have taken advantage of every other club in the last 20 years because of Roman Abramovich. So if I give an opinion on someone taking advantage of them, that's just a fact, that's just the way of life, and that's the way it may be for Chelsea. You have to accept that.
Surely the next owner, they're like, there's only one, two, because if it's the government that's picking, that rules out a lot of like, well, we can't sanction them and then go with like a Saudi Arabian person or something like that. That looks bad on the government. So really, it's only the Americans. There seem to be all that's left. And they don't really tend to give a shit about much apart from making money, which I like. Chelsea will do fine. They're not like going bust and like they'll still be top four and that. But I think, the years of like spend whatever we have possible to win at all costs and who cares if we ever make it back, that's never coming again.
No, those good years are gone. It would be funny though if like the UK government just like unveiled like the bad guy from Blood Diamond. It's like an equally, not equally, way worse, like a horrendous owner. Like, we've got the bad Russian man, and now we have a man who can make this club, respectable amongst the elites of Europe. It's like smoked a cigar. We're like,
Yeah, the evil ruler of planet Jupiter is here.
yeah, Krog from the planet Omicron Persei 8. Like, it is such madness. The kind of parallels, and like I said, we were even saying before, but when Newcastle got taken over, it's like actually is the 0-hour contract guy. I mean, that affects people. Not the same. It's not death, no, but I mean, it's still a shitty kind of practice. That, like, where do you draw the line in terms of what billionaires do? Hey, I don't care how they make the money. Whatever, man. Like, where do you draw the line on that? They say, well, that's morally wrong. That's just a reality of making money. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, this is where they've decided to, but I mean, surely the Saudi Arabians are as bad, no?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, that was the thing as well, where poor Eddie Howe has really come in at a bad time.
Well, listen, your pal, Eddie Howe, your ally, Eddie Howe. This is what I wonder, Will, right? Eddie Howe gets a call from Amanda Staveley, we'll say, and says, Eddie, we want to have a chat with you. I want to have it just to see where your head's at in terms of managing the club. When I come in for a meeting, and we're interested in talking to you. He puts on the phone, and I guess he talks to his wife. I don't know if he's married. I imagine he talks to his wife or his brother or his father, whatever it is, and they talk about, I'm going in for an interview with Newcastle. At some point in that conversation, they say, Ed, what about the owners though? I mean, we've heard a lot of kind of talk about that, and the kind of that's what's your thoughts on that? And he must have justified somehow to take the job. He must have some justification in his head as to why he took the job, where he had kind of their parking or whatever. Why can't he say that in the interview? Why can't he give any justification?
Yeah, I think he's just so unprepared for it, and I think it's like he's unfortunate that he took this evil job right when the eyes are really on the evil people.
No, he's not. He's not. This is like the second Death Star. Everyone, like, if you started working for the second Death Star, you can't say, "Oh, well, I look, I'm not sure what they do over there." It's called the Death Star, Ed. You know what they do. Then why you say, like, if his answer is, "I don't care about raping people. I like money."
That'd be pretty cool. He'd be a great bad guy.
Say it.
Yeah, you can't just say, I couldn't care less. I actually don't know.
but like, this is the thing. I mean, the clip isn't great because the journalists are literally falling over themselves trying to ask these questions to Eddie Howe. But I mean, just reading some of the transcripts, he says he's well aware of what goes on in the world, but he's a football man. He'll talk about football.
Don't say that.
Like,
don't say you're well aware. Oh, I know.
He is, Will. He is well aware. That's the problem. He saw this job. He said, all right, lots of money, but really bad people. And whatever justification was in his head, why didn't you just say that? If his answer is, I don't care, and I'm here to manage football, and really, we're all going to die anyway, so who gives a shit, If that's the justification, fine. But like, this kind of thing, like, hey, I only talk about football. It's like, come on, man. Like,
no, it's not good enough.
How long do you think he's going to get away with this? Where they're just like, look, Eddie's never going to answer us. Let's just pretend those people aren't being killed.
And there's an added element too of he's been asked twice now, and the second time he seemed twice as annoyed to be asked. So I think he's going to keep getting asked. I don't think that's stopping anytime soon, because you just know he's going to say something really dumb really soon, it feels like.
Well, this is the thing. They don't care about you, Eddie. You were asked last week, and it kind of went, not viral, but I mean, hey, listen, the No Nonsense podcast picked up, so that's how...
huge! All over the globe.
So it's gone pretty far and wide. What did they do this week? They executed 81 people.
Mm-hmm. On one day.
In one day. That's a record for even them.
Yeah.
You might think, oh, well, what does that really mean? I mean, I don't know, people get executed all over the place. I was looking up the statistics in America. That's where you think of executions, like some states like Texas and all that kind of stuff. Do you know how many people they killed in 2020, Will?
How many?
17.
Fuck.
In all of America. All those crazy states over there,
The death row capital of the world.
Yeah. So this is the kind of gravity that they do in between your press conferences. That now you're going to be asked that. And he's just like, oh, listen, let's just talk about football, shall we? It's like,
no,
you're not
Eddie.
seeing what's happening with Chelsea. You're not seeing what's happening in Ukraine. And like, the parallels of what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in Yemen, it's inescapable.
Yeah.
So,
I did see some people as well, like, already, because he's been asked twice in 2 weeks, people already being like, leave him alone, like, ask the owners, it's nothing to do with him. It's like, mate, that's the whole point, is you're not going to get to ask the owners. The owners are faceless, like, you're never going to see them involved. So you have to ask somebody.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you make it so uncomfortable for the manager or anybody who works for the club, I mean, look, I don't see anybody asking Dan Byrne.
Yeah, it's true. That is true, actually. It's funny that the players get away with it when the players are probably on more money than the manager, I'd have to assume.
No, I wouldn't say so. I think the manager is typically paid more. I mean, players make more money in terms of like endorsements and stuff like that, but I think they tend to get paid more. I'm very sure. I remember hearing that it was when Arsenal weren't paying any wages at all, and like Wenger was on 7 million a year. I was like, what? 7 million or what?
This is the worst thing to ever happen to football.
I remember just being like struck by like how he makes much more money than Arsenal players. But I guess you can't be the boss if you're getting paid less.
Yeah,
I mean, you might make more from other things, but you can't be being paid less than the boss of you, can you? Probably not.
No,
I don't know.
I don't think so.
But yeah, I don't know. When do we see the questions? If Eddie Howe doesn't answer, surely they'll turn their attentions to Big Dan Byrne. Like, Dan, you already had a job, and he didn't. You're at Brighton, being paid millions, and you came here to represent Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, below you in the league.
Yeah, I mean,
I did. Like I was saying in the Monday Night Football, they were talking about this, which was bizarre to see. Because it does feel like it kind of, like you see it online and stuff, but normally Sky are just like, oh, we just love the football. But this is the first, they were like actively talking about it. And Gary Neville was saying, he was like, he's saying the questions are going to keep coming, Eddie Howe. And he said, I wouldn't say it'll be long until the questions start coming at Pep and Tuchel and everybody. And it's like, it's because now there's like a precedent for like billionaires with like dirty state money bad, therefore get them out. So now the journalists are like, well, if that's the case, then why ever you getting away with it? Why are you getting away with it? So it's like opened a little Pandora's box for a lot of teams now, I think.
Yeah, I'm wrong. I think it's coming absolutely hurtling down the street at football. The Premier League won't know what to do with this, and to be fair, I can see why. I can imagine the executive of the Premier League sat there looking at their owners and saying, what do we do with this situation a couple of weeks ago? You've got Chinese money sat over here, you've got Russian money sat over here, you've got Abu Dhabi money sat over here who were abstaining at the UN in that period. You've obviously got the Saudi money at Newcastle. And they'll be sat there very nervously thinking, we don't want to set a precedent here, what do we do? And the Premier League only reacted after the government had sanctioned Chelsea and removing Roman Abramovich as a director. They weren't proactive, which is not leadership, because they don't know what to do on this subject. And football's got a big problem, because I don't think now it's going to be accepted anymore. I think there'll be an independent regulator put into football. I think it was coming anyway. But Super League, Saudi money, Russian money, Bury, Derby, lack of sustainability, lack of real-time financial monitoring, lack of fit and proper persons test. Football is absolutely coming under huge scrutiny. And it isn't just football. It's not just a football problem, this. Russian money's washed its way through London, has washed its way into, political parties. So it isn't just football, but football is a massive part of this country's fabric, and it will be the centre of what would be a lot of the sort of things that happen and how it deals with it. And it's going to be an issue in the next couple of years. And I suspect if you're Abu Dhabi in Manchester, if you're Saudi Arabia at Newcastle, you're going to be doing your risk assessments, I would suggest, as we speak, thinking what's going to happen.
I mean, the only thing saving Eddie Howe, I guess, now is that I think Boris Johnson is going over to Saudi Arabia to meet the prince, I think next week or that. Like, they are an ally, So, I mean, you should just say that. You should just say, wait, ask Boris Johnson why he's going over there. I just work here. But I don't know. I think, I personally think if he must have justified somehow,
yeah,
in his own head or to his wife or whatever, just say the reason. If the answer truly is, I don't care, that would make it go away.
Yeah, they're not going to keep asking you.
You'd never get another job again, but they'd get their answer.
And if you stick at Newcastle long enough, you won't need another job ever again. You'll be plenty wealthy.
Like, it's not easy, but listen, he didn't have to take a job. Like, he didn't have to take a job. That's like, he would have got another one. Wouldn't be for as much money, and that's the issue. You know. But look, more importantly, listen, enough of the politics, Will. Back to football.
What's really important?
Newcastle. Look at these shiny keys. Look at them. Look at them dazzling in the light. Look at them. Don't stop crying, Mason Mount. Look at the shiny keys. Get out there, play some football. No, I mean, they lost that game, Newcastle.
Yeah,
unfortunately for them. Which is their first loss in a while. I think they've been on a bit of a run.
I think it was like a 98-minute winner as well from Chelsea.
Yeah, like I say, Kai Havertz got the goal. Great goal, great touch, great finish. But luckily for them, Everton lost again.
Shocker.
Please.
Yeah.
4 in a row they've lost.
He's not lasting a month, Carl. There's no way.
Well, look, they lost. Watford won. Watford now skipped Burnley in the league, so they're on 22, same as Everton on 22. Leeds won. They beat Norwich, who were getting cut adrift. Remember Norwich were out of the relegation for like an hour?
They were flying.
That was amazing. Yeah, it was Brentford who beat Burns. They kind of put some space in between there. So, I mean, you know, Watford have kind of risen now. Watford could definitely get out of this. I didn't think they had in them, but everything just keep going badly. I'd say from Leeds down, Leeds on 26, Watford on 22, Brentford on 30, but, you know, they've won the last 2 on the bounce. Yeah. And Ericsson is back playing for them. That's a great sign for them in January. Like, as a relegation candidate, when you're going to sign someone like Ericsson?
I don't know if you saw he got called up to the Denmark squad as well again. So he's back, baby.
Oh yeah, there's no question that he just needed a bit of playing time, and they were going to bring him back in. You know, as long as he could play again, that was the only issue. But So what did you say? You said Burnley were going to get out and Leeds were going to go down, or Everton were going to go down, or Leeds were going to go down?
I thought Leeds were going to go down and Burnley would survive. I probably still think that. But I was thinking about this the other day. Is it worse for Everton to have a squad full of savage players in a relegation battle? Because all those players, after a certain point, are probably thinking, oh, fuck this, I'm just going to go somewhere else if we get relegated. Whereas if you have a team of scrappers and like they could do well in the championship, but then they're going to struggle in the Prem, they'd be like, let's try keep it up. This might be as good as it gets for us. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I was thinking about that the other day. They could be in a bother. Like, Richarlison's not going to fucking stick around.
No, that's a good point. Once it gets to the point of like, oh, okay, this is fucked.
Yeah.
Then you're just thinking about number one.
Yeah.
You know, they would be one of the best team of individual players, because they're obviously not a good team.
Yeah.
If they were, they wouldn't be here. But in terms of individual players and the ability they have in those, it would be one of the best of them I've seen go down in a long time. I mean, other teams that would go down, I remember QPR when they went down were decent, but I mean, some of them weren't even that good. Like someone like Jose Bosingua and Chris Samba, like, it's like they're all right, but like they're really not. You know, like obviously James Coleman and Will Keane were described as a championship back four by Jamie Carragher on M&F a couple of weeks ago. So maybe he'll disagree, but like likes of Calvert-Lewin and Doucouré, Richarlison, Damari Gray, like these are they'd be really good players to go down.
Yeah, Pickford even.
Pickford, the England number one. Fucking hell.
Surely they'd be the most. Although I was going to say surely they'd be the most expensive team to get relegated, but I'd imagine every year now. I'd say every year now though is the most expensive team to get relegated because everyone costs much more than it used to. But they definitely will be.
I get what you mean about the kind of inflation and the value of players. But I mean, I guess you could, if you wanted to do the math on that. I mean, that's not really what we do here, Will. No. Real research, something actually insightful. That's not.
I'll wait till someone puts it in a Twitter thread, and then I'll talk about it.
I'll wait for Opta Joe to make that little graphic so I can dumb down for myself, and then you listeners. But honestly. You have a team of individuals who are probably looking at the exit door. You have Frank Lampard, who doesn't like losing and likes to blame everyone else when it happens. I don't know. I still see Everton as the lead candidates, but Burnley maybe have been a bit unlucky at the wrong time. They've lost 3 in a row here now, haven't won in 5. So I mean, it's not the kind of run you want to be putting together at the last leg of the season when you're fighting relegation. But look, they're only a point behind Everton, and they have Everton have 2 games in hand against Burnley. So I mean, it's looking a bit desperate for Burnley too. I don't know. I think should we call it now? Should we lock in the lyrics now, Will, or what do you think? I mean, it changed every week. You know, Leeds were down last week. Now they're out.
Yeah, You go first. Who's your guaranteed relegation?
Oh, I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I think if I had to guess now, because we looked at the fixture last week and all, I'm sure everyone remembers. I think Burnley had the best fixtures, but and Everton I think had the worst maybe.
Yeah,
so I think Everton could go down, and it could be Watford who stay up. But I'm going to say Everton and Watford I think will go down.
I think so as well. Because I'm going back and forth between Leeds and Everton, but the more like I see about Everton, did you know they've had more players in court than they've won games this season?
What was that stat? Where'd that come from? Who else has been in court other than he must not be named?
Apparently they've had 4 players in court, and I think they've won 4 games in the Prem.
In the calendar year?
I think might even be this season. I don't think they've won that many.
Everton have won 4 games this year.
Yeah. Also 6 games. Sorry, it must be this calendar year then. Yeah.
They've drawn 4. They've lost 19.
Apparently half of their points came in their first 5 games as well.
I believe that, because that's when everyone had Damari Gray in their fantasy team.
Yeah.
Who's banging goals.
So yeah, when I see stats like that, it's like it's a long time since they were any good at all. They've really fucked it. And Leeds are they've fucked it, but every now and then they might get a win there, or they'll play okay. They're not so bad. But what was the last time you saw Everton look good?
Norwich.
They lost that game. 2-0.
Shit. I was thinking Norwich. I was thinking of Adamida. I was thinking of Happier Times, Will. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. But speaking of days gone by and something hasn't been good in a while, Ronaldo, he was written off last week, Will. Dropped for the Manchester derby. And I mean, I guess Ralph Rangnick is the biggest fool of Manchester, because Ronaldo was back this week with a vengeance. Have you ever seen a rage hat-trick quite like that, Will?
No, I did see someone say he scored all 3 of his goals: the screamer, the tap-in, and the flying header.
Yeah. He had all the hits.
Yeah.
I mean, the header at the end.
All 3 goals were, the tap-in was grand, but the fucking first goal was amazing.
Yeah, I did feel that Dyer probably should have seen what's coming there. I mean, I think everyone in this is like, oh, here we go. He's going to hit it. And of all players, go on, hit it from there, son. It's like, well, it is Ronaldo, Dyer. I mean, he is going to hit it from there, son. Yeah. And
he's probably been hitting it from that spot for the last 24 hours straight in training, thinking about it.
He's hit from that spot many times over the years. I mean, it just, maybe he thought he was watching an episode of Premier League Years and he just kind of got transfixed by it. But I was like, close the space, come on. He's not going to pass it, by the way. So he's either going to hit it off you or past you. So. But still, hey, not taking away from the goal. The tap in was then, just the reading of the play. I mean, he still has a bit of gas left in the legs, but I mean, it's just that kind of knowing where the ball's going to be. Really, really classic Ronaldo stuff. And then the header, we're just like, oh yeah, he still got it. He's still got a bit of athleticism left in the tank.
He's still sailing over every other player in the box, his knees or everyone else's head.
Well, did you see who he was sailing over in particular for that header?
No, who was?
Matt Doherty.
Oh no!
Yeah,
of course it was.
Matt Doherty on the poster. Yeah, Ronaldo at the buzzer. I don't know. I mean, it was funny because it's very like the Man City game. I thought Tottenham were just going to do this now for the rest of the season, to show how good Harry Kane is.
Have you seen their form in the last 2 months?
I saw that tweet too.
Win,
Hey,
loss,
speaking
win,
of-
loss, win, loss, win, loss.
Win, loss. So I guess we know what's going to happen next game. Who did they play next? Oh God, please not be Arsenal.
I couldn't believe that. Imagine trying to follow that every week. Maybe this week. Nope.
Yeah, no, that was incredible. You never see that. You don't go on on a win loss because that just shows it's usually go on a run, or you go to a bad spell or bad run of fixtures.
Yeah.
It just shows the kind of the temperamentalness of that squad and that team right now, that they're just oh well, we're not bothered this week, but this week we are. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they looked like they were going to come back. Look, it's going to be win-win after demolishing Everton. It looked like that. Harry Kane, and of course, the real story was obviously Ronaldo scoring the goals, but then Harry Maguire scoring an own goal. It was oh yeah, that's exactly how I would write it too.
I don't know if you saw on the own goal as well. So it was a bad clearance, obviously, because he cleared it into his own net, and obviously shit happens, but he was in the wrong place. He also, if he hadn't touched the ball, it would have been offside. It wouldn't have counted. So it was a double own goal.
Like I say, I wouldn't have written it any other way, Will. I did hear actually an amazing stat from that game. It might be stat of the month, stat of the year, perhaps. It just ties in. It ties in, Will. Do you know how many shots on target Ronaldo had in that game, Will?
3, I'm assuming. Did he have more?
He had 5 shots on target.
Right.
Do you know how many shots Romelu Lukaku has had all season on target?
The big 5, is it?
11. But I mean,
still close.
half his shots all season in one game. That's how. Lukaku's not having a great season, but that just shows how amped for that game that Ronaldo was, and he was scoring as many goals as he possibly could, and it happened to be 3.
But there's 2 things as well. I was thinking, because he obviously was angry, very angry man who was being written off all week, and he hates that. Throughout his whole career, whenever people start writing him off, he really doesn't like it, and he proves them wrong in the next game. But he also is 30. Was he 36? So
37.
he's a 37-year-old man who got to chill at home for the week, just brewing with anger, probably in some kind of cryogenic chamber waiting.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is let him loose, play him in the Champions League on Tuesday maybe, send him back to Portugal, write him off again. Then you bring him back, you let him loose again.
Well, this is what people were saying at the start of the season. It was so do we kind of rest him, as an older man and play him in important games? I was no, play every minute. He can do it. And this is the thing. I mean, we obviously were saying this at the start of the season that Messi and Ronaldo, they just keep going. But there is a point where they don't keep going. And this is why he was such a bad signing for Man United, because he just completely disrupted the whole trajectory that the club was on with, obviously the Greenwood thing happened, whatever, but Rashford getting injured, Sancho coming in, not replaying. I mean, that was the kind of the idea. And then also Ronaldo's being thrown in the mix. He could have come on and played big games and played roles in it, but he wasn't going to do it every week. And we take the piss out of this as well, that the most physical league in the world, it's the best league in the world. But you look at how Aubameyang's done since he left Arsenal.
Yeah.
It's 5 goals in 6 games. Because the teams he's playing against are not Burnley, they're not Brighton, they're not decent teams in Spain. The lower league ones, obviously they have good teams there as well, but the level of competition isn't as intense every week. Same in Italy, so Ronaldo's playing every week against tough teams who have a game plan specifically for him when he's playing. It's not going to be the same. He's not going to score the same amount of goals. I mean, I think he scores 10 goals now on the back of the hat-trick this year. It's been one of his worst seasons in years.
Yeah, easily.
If he finishes with 17 goals, it'd be Jesus.
He's fallen off a cliff.
He was top scorer in Italy last year. So I mean, that's if he scores 7 more goals. He only scored 10 so far. You're talking almost doubling it. So he probably won't. But that is just the level of the competition in the Premier League. He's not going to be able to do that. So when they played him this year, I was like, oh, he's just going to be like a top striker. It's like, not in the Premier League, man. Like, and that's not just kind of like, oh, other leagues are shy or that, because I don't subscribe to that. But there is an element of truth that it's more competitive every week.
Yeah, and as well, I think like that whole thing of it was a big deal at the start of the season. I think sometimes we like, maybe, but probably not. The whole thing of like when you have Ronaldo, he's not going to be tracking back and stuff. But then also when you have Pogba, he's also not going to be tracking back. And then Bruno, you don't want him tracking back. That's so many players in your team that are fucking just waiting to get the ball. Like you can't have all of them at once.
Yeah, but it was a big result for the
Huge,
top 4 race. Like I say, it is between Arsenal and United. Arsenal, who also won, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
The 3 games in hand, I was saying win 1, lose 1, draw 1. 2 games in hand are against Liverpool and Chelsea. So
Oh, fuck. You might beat Chelsea. They've got bigger fish to fry.
that feels like the draw one. That feels like the draw
yeah.
one. And Liverpool feels like the lose one.
For sure.
Which is still good.
I did see Mo Salah is apparently, like Klopp was talking about how impressed he was. He's like, I can't believe he's going to be back in time to play Arsenal.
Yeah. And they won as well, didn't they, at the weekend, Liverpool?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Of course.
Well, this is new. With Liverpool, they keep winning. But a team that didn't win, City.
Oh boy.
Stalemate again. They haven't scored against Crystal Palace this year. Did you know that?
I did see that. Do you remember who was originally in line to get the Palace job before Vieira?
Refresh your memory.
Our boy Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard. Whoa, close one. Whoa.
This is the thing as well. He fucked it going to Everton, didn't he? He should have waited until it's like, we're going to come 12th no matter what, one of those teams.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, where does he go after this?
I'll tell you, man, he's not going anywhere. He's a bad manager. He's not a very good manager.
I agree. Yep.
So, yeah, City lost. They had lots of chances. It was one of those games that you felt they were going to score eventually. I mean, Laporte had a great chance there at the end. The header. That's the one you see flying in. It was like a perfect ball from De Bruyne. It was like, oh no, here we go. But he just kind of fluffed a little bit. I know Gay put him under pressure now, but I mean, it just. And then they were like kicking the ball behind each other or kicking the ball out. And like giving the exasperate looks like, come on, we're better than this. Come on, that guy, like, you're going to lose this game. You're going to lose this. And a couple of times in where Palace did get a chance at the end, it's like, oh, if they lose this, like it's wide open. Like this is one of the losses that we said, who's going to come against? Crystal Palace, of course. Who else would go against? Patrick Vieira's Palace. But it wasn't B. It was just a draw. And you took some. What's the word I'm looking for? You took some objection to what Bruno Silva.
I didn't take
Bernardo Silva.
Bernardo Silva. I didn't take objection to it. I just thought that was probably not a wise choice of words from him, and it wasn't like a mental.
We'll read it out. Shall we read out the quotes? I mean, the clip is not much of a clip. We can read it. We can read it. So yeah, Bernardo Silva on the Premier League title race. Still a long way to go. Still better to be in our position than Liverpool, and still have to play in our stadium. That's all true, Will. That's all facts. No?
It is. It again. I wasn't like, what a fucking idiot, but I did. It was just seeing that, like the way he framed it, like, it could be worse. We could be at like Liverpool still have to play us. I just reeked of like in a few weeks' time they're going to get hammered by Liverpool in their stadium, and then you'll see that fucking quote on Instagram or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. They are contractually obliged to do like some media stuff after the game.
Definitely.
One of the players has to go out to it. It's like he comes out and he's asked about the title race, of course. The other City players will see that as well.
Yeah.
So you do have to kind of come out and go, listen, we're still in. Like,
that's true. Yeah.
We're still champions. We're not doubting ourselves for 1 second here. It's going to be tough, obviously, but I'd rather be us than them. We're ahead. It's theirs to try and win. You can't go, whoa, yeah, geez, I don't know what fucking Laporte was doing that one. I mean, so many missed chances. I mean, why wouldn't do that? I don't know. That could be huge for that race. You're right, Jeff Shreves. You're dead right. That could be huge.
Like I did, I was
Silva,
like,
he's the guy who played fucking. You got to unite in front. We're still in this.
Yeah.
No, hey, fuck it, man. They got to come and take the title of us. We're the champions. You got to play fucking bravado and be that.
It was funny because you were saying about City. It looked like a game where they're like kind of just not. They were just constantly missing the chances, or the ball was just a bit behind. Do you remember? I think the last 3 times they've won the league, it felt like every single time they were about to fuck up, like draw 0-0, or they were losing 1-0, they would always score last second, and it's like, of course they did. When that luck dries up, like when I saw that, even when I just saw the result, like 0 against Palace, I thought, oh no, oh no, I think I know who's winning the league this year.
Oh yeah. Well, which is worse for you? Well, as a die-hard United fan.
I don't care if City win the league. I don't know any City fans. I think every United fan's the same. But I did see Arsenal. I think Arsenal's next game is against Liverpool.
It is.
So a game where either Liverpool win and are really up for the title challenge, maybe win the league off the back of it, off a huge result, or Arsenal win and Arsenal get top 4 over Man United. What a week.
This is why football is so stupid. It's like, there's a war going on. We're just like, if they win, that's 3 points for them. For you to take away that point from me. Oh, God.
I think we've unraveled. I just don't think Poch is right for him.
He's not a good fit for the club. The club DNA. Oh, God.
I think we've unraveled the whole pod, the basis of it.
Shiny keys. Look at the shiny keys. Don't look at that. Look at the keys. Yeah, I mean, speaking of the madness of football fandom and all that, I mean, there's no bandwagon wheel this week. We are preparing for the playoffs, which start in earnest.
We're in our cryogenic chambers.
Yeah, I got all the players there in their cryogenic chambers. I've given them a coffee and cigarette, as I do every morning, for the breakfast. The breakfast of champions. Well, the breakfast of survivors, hopefully. You know, we get out of this relegation. Yeah, that starts on Saturday. Anyone wants to try and find a stream, you can watch along with us. We'll be watching and we'll be reporting on next week. But yeah, nothing to report, Will. Just very, very chill camp at the moment. Very kind of relaxed. You know, we're confident that we can get out of this. And yeah, we're looking forward to it, man. Was there anything else then, Will, that we want to...
There was one other story I just thought of that we probably should talk about. Were you watching the PSG's umpteenth collapse and subsequent...
Yes.
It's chaos there now. Apparently their sporting director had to meet the owners, which is never good. And I think he's on the out. Messi and Neymar were getting booed in the game after.
Booed, man.
I don't know if you saw the story about PSG's sporting director going into the referees area after the Madrid game and slapping a phone out of someone's hand.
Yeah, an allegation I think they deny or whatever, but I mean, it sounded like it was all kind of coming apart. I mean, look, they're trying to win the Champions League before the Qatar World Cup, you know, this year. So they've run out of time. They really just blew it.
Yeah.
They've had 10 years of chances.
It's funny because I was thinking it's such an impossible level of pressure where it's like every year you must win the Champions League or it's a failure, but also you've never won the Champions League ever. Like, how are you supposed to manage that?
Well, you hire AVB, you sack him, then you bring in Di Matteo halfway through the season, and then a creaky old Frank Lampard, John Terry, and Gary Cahill will do it for you. Because that's the exact same thing with Chelsea every year. When Champions League are sacked. No, it was, I mean, I guess a win for the good guys. The PSG be knocked out by Real Madrid.
Yeah.
The whole thing's fucked, man. The whole thing is fucked. Like it reminds me of the late great Norm Macdonald. He had a bit there in 2016. You know, all those celebrities were dying, and Donald Trump was president, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is the worst thing ever." And he was like, "Yeah, the news it's so bad. I mean, back in my day, the worst thing you'd see on the news is people flying planes into buildings." And I was like, Yeah, like to put things in perspective, like someone you don't like being elected isn't as bad, but like the news now actually is worse than that. It's way worse than 9/11 because like between oil prices and fucking everyone's affected by this.
Oh, 9/11. You know. Oh, don't laugh at 9/11 again. I tried to tell him not to laugh. Adam. I know. I walked through blood and bones in the streets of Manhattan trying to find my brother.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was in northern Canada.
We've talked about before that, like, the way the podcast, it seems every week there's a new huge event. Imagine if we did this podcast like 5 years ago. It would literally just be about the results every week.
Yeah. We're probably more successful too. There's a lot of this podcast back then.
Man, we'd be the only one.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, well. We were too busy being fucking cool and young, so, you know, no time for that.
Okay.
But I think that... Hey, well, speak for yourself, bro. I think, you know, the final word this week, Will. I might just paraphrase one of my favourite quotes. Mm-hmm. Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad pods do.
That gorilla Monsoon, he's so smart. He knew something that two other people knew. Razor Ramon's #1 contender. Razor knows it. Shawn Michaels knows it. How does Razor feel about Shawn Michaels? Hey, he's pretty good. He a 3-time Intercontinental champ. But Chicos, I'm the first 3-time Intercontinental champ. Michaels, do you respect the bad guy? You better, Chico. Because just think back. The ladder match, the last time we met, I'm the only man to take your precious IC gold. And Chico, talk about SummerSlams. When you riding down that road with Big Daddy Cool, ask him, Chico. I'm the only one to ever beat him, too.
No, honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. But listen, I've been on that road before.
Nonsense. Talking nonsense. Why should we accept somebody talking nonsense? Like, what would you say? Just why are you talking nonsense about us? Why are you talking rubbish?